Hey there, I hope that you were doing well today. Welcome to Life at a Glance podcast. And in today's episode, I'm going to tackle a very specific friction point that a member shared as soon as she entered the community. And for her friction right now in her business, it's almost like a three-parter, but we're going to tackle it kind of all together, all right? It's setting up administration, the back office, social media, and marketing. There is a lot. And I'm afraid I'll do something wrong and not succeed. So isn't it unfortunate that when we transition online and launch our business that we're not given a handbook? I think that compare-itis of looking at our beginning to somebody else's middle, that's where those feelings of I'm afraid I'll do something wrong and not succeed. And we're also taking so much information from so many different places, it can feel really conflicting. So, we're going to take a look at this in a couple of different points and we're going to tie everything up with a bow. One of the things that I want to share with you is that you don't need to master everything, you just need clarity. And so, in her friction point, the thing that she was talking about was social media and marketing and the back end office and the fear that she's going to do something wrong. So she's trying to juggle so many hats at once, set everything up correctly, and still feeling like no matter what you do, it's still either not going to be good enough or it's not going to be done right. What I have found is that you just keep putting one foot in front of the other and you will find clarity. So here is what I mean by that. In my small group coaching, Help Me Rhonda Live, I have a member and she has been using ClickUp. Now, ClickUp is amazing. Pick a tool, learn a tool, you're not missing out. You miss out, and I told her this during our session, you miss out when you move from one tool to another because you feel like there's something missing. So, give you a little bit of context. She's got a lot going on personally, a new move, and some other things that are going on. And what's feeling really just very overwhelming is when she looks at her ClickUp and she found hundreds of tasks that she's doing, and there's a lot of automation that's set up. And so instead of saying, yes, let's move to a tool that makes things simpler, I asked a couple of clarifying questions. And those questions are, okay, so are you using dashboards? Are you using, what view are you seeing? Because one thing that was coming up for her was I really like the clarity around the 90-day sprint dashboard that you share with us here inside of Help Me Rhonda Live. And I think what was happening was the conflict of everything around her personally, and then what was going on in the business, the view. And what really just needed to happen is we needed to shift the view. In that moment in time, she did not need to master and complete everything. She just needed to simplify what she had already done. She had invested a lot of time, and time translates into money. And after that call, she took 2 hours and she was able to shift a view and realize what a detriment to herself and her business it would have been had she moved from one platform to another. Such a huge price to pay. So she didn't need to master everything. We need to focus in and really drill in on the thing that is the friction point so that you can have clarity on the steps that you need to take. So I want to go back and I'm going to read the friction point one more time, if I can pull it up. It's really around setting up the back office, doing all of the things with marketing, doing all of the things with social, and worried that you're going to miss something and you're not going to do it right, which would translate in you not being successful. So here is the thing. Point number 2 to address that. Create systems that support you and not suffocate you. So the way that I want to speak to this is that I have not had a foundation of organization for the past 12 months. And what I'm speaking to is the fact that the tree split the house in half. We didn't have internet for 2 weeks. No, 6 weeks. We didn't have power for 2 weeks. Didn't have heat and air for like 6 to 8 months. There were parts of the house that did not have power for that long as well. And so the systems that I created needed to shift and move with me. In the early days of that happening, what that meant was going to a coffee shop, using their Wi-Fi through my VPN, and completing the task and coming home. What that has shifted to next is a new way to use the internet where literally, like, I just plug it in and it works. And I'm here in my tiny house. You might see a TV over here. You might see the pots and pans. It's not a pretty backdrop. It is, I am in the tiny house and I need to continue to work. The lighting is horrible here. So I'm doing all of the things wrong. But the system is that I consistently show up each and every week on 2 platforms. So we've got the podcast, well, actually 3, the podcast, Facebook, and YouTube. And so I had to take my system and roll it over and let it work no matter what is happening around me. So that the perfection in the background, the really pretty backdrop, the perfect internet, like all of those things, that would be suffocating. And I still would not have been able to, I mean, think about it, like with all of those things wrong and what seems like all of those things like piling up against me, if I chose to say, I just can't do it this week, then I mean, clients would not be served. You wouldn't hear or see me. Revenue would not be generated. Like so many things. Like there's still demands. Like there's still tuition bills to pay. My kids are counting on that. And if I don't show up and do the things that I need to do as a byproduct, then there's no money in the bank account. Life continues to go on. And I should say, creating systems that support you, not suffocate you. No one's coming to save you. You have to save yourself. And part of saving yourself is creating a routine that you could implement no matter what. I don't talk about the house in such a way that to feel sorry for me. I talk about the house that says, even in spite of this, I can still do that. And I can still do that in such a way that doesn't create another friction point that suffocates me with the perfectionism. I record my podcast on Loom. It is a Google Chrome extension. I share that Loom video on YouTube. I don't do any fancy editing. I literally post and go. If you're concerned about all of those things, about the way that I look, you've missed the point on how I can serve you. I'm showing up no matter what with a system that supports me, that does not suffocate me. All right. And here is the final point where we're going to just wrap everything up with a bow, is that confidence comes from consistency. So the messy action that I've taken allows me to consistently show up. And if I can consistently show up with a system that's supporting me, there is a confidence. And the confidence is no matter what has happened, i.e., the tree splits the house in half, I have to go to a cafe, or now I'm recording in my little house and you are allowing me grace for what the background looks like. You're valuing more of my content and how to operate. So on those days where maybe you have everything that aligns and is perfect, but you don't feel like showing up, maybe it's the example that you need to say, she can do it, I can do it. I know that's what I say to myself. That's what I said 6 years ago when people were having success with Facebook ads. I was so frustrated. I was spending money for webinar registrations and it was really expensive even at the time. And then people wouldn't show up. I would still do the webinar. And then at the end of the day, like I was paying Facebook. I was not making any money. But I saw other people do it and I'm like, I know if they can do it, it's possible. So I took that same copy, did a little bit of edit, took a screenshot of my Trello board, put $35 behind it. And today we have over 10,000 customers. The confidence comes from consistency. The systems support you, not suffocate you. You don't have to master everything. You literally just need clarity. And if the only thing that you can focus on is your revenue generating activities and limiting those to just a handful each and every day, and you've got a system that supports that activity, then you're going to be able more likely to do it consistently, which will give you consistency. Do you see how that ecosystem is built? And if you need more help, you can always join us. There will be a link somewhere for Help Me Rhonda Live. It is small group coaching. We have up to 10 seats. 5 are filled right now. And we go live each and every week. You've got me in between. We've got a great forum. We've got a great supportive community as well. And here's the thing that I find really interesting is that they're very diverse in terms of their niches of the women that are inside of this community. But what we're doing is literally slowing down, completing a task so that we can speed up in the future. And speeding up in the future just means going from one-on-one to one-to-many. And that is the way that you can open up capacity. So there is a link somewhere here for this episode. And the other thing, before we pop off, I just want to share, especially with my AI Command Center folks, is that I use the Podcast Wizard. Now, I wasn't using it verbatim, but I literally took customer voice, so a friction point that my customer shared. I plugged it in a conversational way inside of the wizard. And what that allowed me to do was to quickly come up with a title for the podcast and 3 points. I knew exactly how I wanted to speak to each one of those points. And then we wrap everything up with a bow. The reason I'm sharing that with you is that is how you can use AI in your business to show up consistently so that you can implement the system so that you can go from overwhelmed to, I guess, organized. And reach your goals that you want to achieve each and every week. All right. So I talked about 2 things. I really talked about 3 things. But if you want more information on Help Me Rhonda Live, there is a link somewhere around this video or in the podcast. All right. Until next week, take care. We'll talk soon.